Welcome to Strangeville. Welcome to the channel. My name is Kevin Strange, 20-year veteran of the underground, cartoonist, novelist, independent filmmaker, and I am here today to share my love of comic books with you. I hope you're having a good day, gang. If you're not having a good day, there's a link in the description to talk to someone about your mental health. Suicide is a big problem among the demographic that watches this channel. Men ages 20 to 35, 20 to 45, 20 to 55. And we don't want you to go down that path. So hit that link in the description if you're not feeling well today. We got a good one for you today, gang. We are taking a look at PISSANT Apocalypse from James Edward Clarke, one of the best indie books I've read in quite some time. James was kind enough to send along a copy of PISSANT Apocalypse for me to review for the channel. He currently has a crowdfunder going on for his new book, Evil. There's a link in the description. You have until just a few more days, just until October 30th to back that book. So if you like what you're going to see here today in PISSANT Apocalypse, be sure to go back James's new book, Evil. Link in the description. Back in the day, I used to send all my new books, Too Many Dabs, Wizard of Ganj, Death to Strangeville. I even sent along a copy of my big 164-page graphic novel tome, Kevin Strange's Space Worms, to the Cartoonist Kayfabe channel, to Ed and Jim when Ed was still alive and Jim was still doing a comic book show. And I would say the same thing to them that James said to me. Here's my new book. I have a crowdfunder. If you could possibly do a review on my book before the crowdfunding date, that would be great and helpful, and I appreciate it. And I never heard anything. I never heard thanks for the book. I never heard your book sucks. I never heard we don't do that on this channel. I never heard boo back from Ed or Jim. And I told myself when I started this channel after Ed's suicide that I wouldn't do that to creators. I wouldn't treat creators that way. If people were kind enough to send along their work and had crowdfunders that they needed promotion for, that I would do my level best, that I would do my damnedest, gang, to review their material on here and get the promotion out for their crowdfunder. We indie guys have to stick together. We have to help promote each other. We are not in competition. There is enough of a fan base to go around that can collect all of our work together, and there's no reason for us to pretend that one of us is better than the other, especially in the case of James Edward Clarke and his work, especially PISSANT Apocalypse. No reason to try to gatekeep or cockblock dudes like this out of the possibility of reaching the largest audience as possible. This dude's already a big deal in indie circles. He needs to be a big deal professionally. I think that he's going to blow up. I think he's got extremely... I've been doing this 20 years, gang, as I say at the top of every show. I've done it all. I've seen it all. I've read it all. I've watched it all. And I know a great storyteller when I see one, and James is a great storyteller. We're going to get into it, but before we do, I have my own book, brand new book that's about to come out, Count Kefula, a.k.a. Dracula in Strangeville. You have until the 31st, you have until Halloween to pre-order the print version, the 28-page print version of Count Kefula, a.k.a. Dracula in Strangeville. If you like underground comics, if you like Robert Crumb, S. Clay Wilson, if you like Spain Rodriguez, if you are into guys like that, Gilbert Shelton, Fabulous Furry Freak Bros, that kind of subversive drug, sex, and violence fueled debauchery in comic books. You will love the Strangeville comics. You will love Count Kefula. You can grab a print copy of that, pre-order, between now and we're almost done. It's almost the end of the month. You only have a couple more days to grab it. It's 28 pages, $12, and you get a free 11 by 17 poster of Count Kefula with your order. So get those pre-orders in. The time is running out. You can actually read Count Kefula right now on the Patreon. For $3 a month, you get access to 20 years of comics, novels, and films from the twisted mind of me, Kevin Strange. You get all my comics, novels, and feature films. You get Space Worms, the graphic novel. You get Count Kefula, the brand new book. You get Death to Strangeville, Wizard of Ganj, Too Many Dabs, and many more comics. Over a dozen novels that are just as weird and just as fucked up as my comics, and my feature films, which are equally fucked up. Let's give some shouts to our patrons and channel members. Savage Splendor, Dark Lord Carrion, 666 Yoshi, Alien on LSD, Joseph Stark, Loud Pack Productions, Dave Baxter, Jason German, Mutant Minds, Joshua Wise, Jeremy Maddox, Nirvana, and our newest channel member, Andrew Varble. What do you get for being a channel member, gang? Well, you get access to our videos weeks, sometimes months before they hit the streets, as it were. Alongside here, as of the recording of this video, is a list of videos that have yet to be released to the public. You can become a member for only $2.99 a month. You hit that join button below. Gets you early access to the videos, and so as this channel grows, we hit 1,000 subscribers, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 subscribers. Books like Pissant Apocalypse, the members are already going to have sold this thing out on the internet, on Amazon, and through James's other means that you can pick up his material. He's going to be cleaned out by the time these videos hit the public in some cases, as the channel grows. So it behooves you, if you're a collector of these books that you see us talk about here on the channel, it behooves you to become a channel member. All the money that comes from the Patreon and the channel members and the super thanks that you can drop right now, hit the thanks button and you can drop a super thanks if you find value in this video and you want to support the channel. All that is going to go towards upgrades. It's going to help us get new cameras, new microphones, new computers, new comics. It allows us to have a budget to go out and do dollar bin digging and then some, and it will eventually help us to get a studio so you don't hear all these cars rumbling by on their way to the bullet factory right in front of my house. It's 9 a.m. here in Strangeville in real time, and 9 a.m. is the next shift at the bullet factory. So all these fucking F-150s and fucking and all these gigantic fucking trucks that have no fucking mufflers have to go right past my fucking house as soon as I'm doing a video. We can, the more members and patrons we get, the more likely we'll be able to afford an actual studio that we can soundproof and won't be interrupted by rednecks in giant trucks. One last thing, gang, and then we'll get back to the video. We are almost at 1,000 members. We are under 100. We have under 100 to go. I think we have 89 subscribers to go at the time of the recording of this video. Once we hit that 1,000 subscribers, which is going to be very soon, I'm actually going to give a copy of that Space Worms 164-page graphic novel away for free on the Patreon. So you won't have to be a patron member in order to get that. I'm trying to find any page that doesn't have nudity on it. Here we go. You'll be able to get a hold of this 164-page graphic novel, the longest comic book I've ever written, the epic in scope and tone Kevin Strange's Space Worms. That's going to be free on the Patreon. So for a month, I'm going to put it up for free. Once we hit that 1,000 subscribers, between 40 and 60% of the people who watch these videos are not subscribers. So hit that subscribe button. That costs you nothing. Helps us fully monetize the channel. And then again, cameras and recording studios and blah, 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 blah. So please help us out, gang. If you don't have the means of to become a subscriber or a patron or drop a super thanks, at least hit that subscribe button and help grow the channel. So now that I've that's all right. We just had another intro. Now, without further ado, let's get into Pissant Apocalypse. So there is a, the post-apocalyptic genre is a popular one to write in, to film in, and to make comics in. I have written many a book in a post-apocalyptic setting. I'm a big fan of that genre. Pissant Apocalypse is a nice post-apocalyptic tale that's full of absolute craziness and fun characters and ultra violence and sex and it's got this macabre absurdity to it that really speaks to me as a creator. I love to write absurdist humor and I love to read absurdist humor, and this and James is he's a real one when it comes to, like I said at the top of the show, he's a real one when it comes to storytelling. This dude knows what he's doing, and he's doing a great job of telling this tale of a giant yellow oaf, and his how would you describe her? His female companion who is plays that Mary and Madonna, the whore and the virgin role perfectly. James knows what he's doing when he's writing this. He's got this woman playing these dual roles perfectly as she accompanies the big guy in the story, and so a lot of people who write post-apocalyptic stuff they just have to be edgy boys, and they have to go as nihilistic as humanly possible, right? So when Alan Moore and Frank Miller came along and sort of changed comics forever with Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns, they ushered in an era that continues to this day of subversive, deconstructionist, and nihilistic comic book stories. And sort of, so since the 1980s, comics has sort of been in this sort of like fixed rotation or orbit around the idea of subversive storytelling. And a lot of edgy boys that they sort of can't help themselves, especially when they're young, and I'm guilty of this too, of going as hardcore into nihilism as possible and trying to make the most bleak and horrific and terrible stories their minds can muster. And there is no levity, and there is no humor, and there is no light at the end of the tunnel. And as I continued to write and kind of write my way out of out of this trope, I found that telling stories that include sort of nihilistic beliefs, that include ultraviolence, that include horrific gore and sex and drugs, but by creating this perverse, like twisted sort of optimism in the face of that, actually made for better storytelling. And I believe that James does a great job of adding this perverse optimism to his apocalyptic story. And it's hard to do this. It's hard to add that element and hit the tone correctly. And it's because it's a balance. There's a crazy balance to it, and James does a great job of it. And like, I would say, like, if you want examples of being able to take this deconstructionist nihilistic approach, but then add perverse optimism and absurdity to it, I would point to movies like Night of the Comet is a great example of an apocalyptic tale where the survivors sort of adapt to the horrific environment and then make the most absurd fun out of it they can. I would say by the end of John Carpenter's The Thing, the very end of The Thing, has this perverse optimism to it that defies the tone of the rest of the movie, but it's a pitch perfect ending to me. The Thing is among my favorite, like probably top 3 movies of all time, and the ending has a lot, like the horrific monsters, the crazy psychological battle that the characters are going through, the fact that there's no women in it. It's one of one of only a handful of big budget mainstream Hollywood movies that don't. Well, John Carpenter, I'm sure, would say I didn't have a big budget on that fucking movie, but you know what I'm saying. Like, there's barely any Hollywood movies that don't have women in it, mucking up the system, mucking up the story. And The Thing is one of them. So The Thing is one of my favorite movies. Night of the Comet is one of my favorite movies. Another movie, this is a deep cut that a lot of you guys probably aren't aware of, is Empire Pictures' Stuart Gordon's Robot Jocks. Is a movie that's set in a post-apocalypse where these giant robots fight each other. And the end of that movie is so cool and so fun, and adds this layer of absurd optimism to an otherwise like crazy post-apocalyptic movie. And I believe that James has nailed this with Pissant Apocalypse. And I want to show you just a little bit of the absurdity that goes into his book. I definitely want you to hit the link in the description to back the crowdfunder for his new book, Evil. You've still got a few days left to do that. We're going to read a little bit out of the book, and which a couple parts that I think are really funny, and then we're gonna get out of here. I don't want to ruin it or spoil it for you more than I have to, but we start with a Bible quote, which often edgy boys will put in their stuff ironically. I don't know if this is ironically or unironically. I don't know if James is a man of faith or a man mocking faith. It's hard to say. I'm going to lead more towards that he's around my age. He was born, it says in the back here, he was born in 86, and James Edward Clark was born in 1986. He currently lives in Toronto, Canada. Pissant Apocalypse is his 3rd book. He made it during lockdowns. He's around the same age as me. He's about 6 years younger than me, but we come from an era that sort of, we kind of went through our atheist phase. We went through our occult and Satanism phase, and we've kind of come out on the other side of that, and maybe have become, we maybe left atheism behind and embraced a sort of absurd what's it called, agnosticism. And I'm not sure, maybe James is a hardcore Satanist like a lot of these guys that send me stuff. I don't care one way or the other. I'm just saying the book starts with a Bible quote, and I don't know if it's ironically or unironically. That's up to James to tell you. I'm not here to try to interpret his work literally. So he starts the book with, your wealth has rotted, and moths have eaten your clothes. Your gold and silver are corroded. Their corrosion will testify against you and eat your flesh like fire. James 5:2, verses 2 and 3. So let's jump in. The very beginning, the book starts with this really funny scene, and I want to read this to you because it's funny, and then we'll get out of here. Buckle up, boss. Things ain't so bad. No need to be so morose. It's like I keep saying. One man's apocalyptic wasteland is another man's frontier. It's all about how you choose to look at it. I mean, sure, everybody else is dead. That just means there's nobody left to get in the way of your legend. You got the opportunity to write your own ticket, to truly live free. And this is a little pig dude down here who's leading this horse with this naked woman who's handcuffed, gagged, and blindfolded and wearing a sort of nun's habit. And the little dude, and this is our man. This is our big. He's kind of like he's kind of like a Conan figure. You know, high fantasy and post apocalyptic stuff are basically exactly the same. You just switch out technology for swords and castles, and you pretty much have the same thing. So he's our big hulking Conan type figure in the apocalypse. And then this little dude keeps talking here. What did that stinking old world really have to offer a giant two-fisted mutant renegade such as yourself? Glory? Adventure? Ha! I think not. Yes, sir. With me by your side as your faithful bard, ain't nobody gonna get in our way. Blah, 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 it says. And you see this post-apocalyptic weirdo here, shades of Mad Max, which is great. Great imagery. More incessant yammering. Shut up, swine. Somebody's romping, stomping about. They shoot this hook at him. Cunt. He calls everybody cunts with a K. Everybody's a cunt in this. Flop. James's style reminds me of like a more refined, like a better cartooning version of Johnny Ryan. And this is like if Johnny Ryan had any storytelling chops to him, he'd be James Edward Clark. Johnny Ryan's great at making cool monsters and offensive sex comedy and stuff like that. He's not a great storyteller. James is a great storyteller, and so we get this. I love the landscape. Is just these like multicolored, just rocks, I guess, and it doesn't really require much more background than that. You know, just some clouds here, but mostly it's just these rocks and these lined backgrounds. Oi, cunt! Surrender your girl and your beasts, and prepare yourself for death. We've got the numbers. We've got the high ground. Every advantage imaginable. Know your role, cunt. And roll over and die. We are gonna rape your soul and steal your junk. Your future is decided. Now here's his little pig companion. You delusional cads, you insufferable sods, you utterly unrepentant fuckwits, do you have any conception of the wrath you've brought upon yourself? Can you even comprehend the unbridled brutality you've unleashed into your miserable lives? Do you have the slightest idea who you're fucking with? You're stepping to the last rock and roller of the wrecked wasteland, the dynamo desert despot of this doomed planet, who just punt kicked your boy's head right outside his skull. That wasn't fair. He surprised Spike. This time, we're getting in front of this shakedown. Give us your shit, cunt. Final warning. That's rich. Come get ahead of your imminent demise. This ain't some fly-by-night apocalyptic refugee retrobait. You're shaking down the #1 dead zone defiler, master of his own destiny. I told you to shut up, swine. And so he ends up fucking these dudes up. Cunts. And then the funny part is what happens after he massacres all these people. Boss? Start a fire, swine. We'll camp here tonight. You sure showed those goons who's boss, eh, boss? I bet they regret messing with you. If they weren't dead, I mean. We sure do make a good team, eh, boss? Yes, sir, you and me, boss. Without your muscle in my brains. This look that he gives this fucking pig. He pulls out his knife here behind the pig. Long as you and me stick together, ain't nobody a match for the two of us in this entire damn pissant apocalypse. Huh? Boss, wait, what? Ah! And he fucking slits the pig's throat, guts him, and puts him on the fire spit. And eats the fucking pig. And then goes to sleep. Love it. That's chapter 1. Love it. That's the kind of absurd humor that I love in my storytelling. So yeah, that's all I got for you today, gang. James Edward Clark's Pissant Apocalypse. You can pick up his new book if you liked what you saw there. You can pick up Pissant Apocalypse from James, or you can back his new crowdfunder Evil up through the 30th, I believe. So you've got a couple more days left. I got to this as quick as I could. You got a couple more days left to back Evil. Link in the description. And if you are a creator who would like to see your work featured on the channel, if you've got some crowdfunders that you need an extra boost on, send that shit along to Kevin Strange, P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018. I will get to your stuff as soon as I can. I didn't have a big window here. James didn't send this on until into October, but I didn't have the P.O. Box until into October. So, but try to give me a little more time. Try to give me as advanced time as you can, because I bank a lot of videos and I had to shuffle a lot of stuff around here to fit James's review in before his crowdfunder ran out. So please get this stuff to me as early as possible so I don't have to do a ton of moving, because I'm going to run into situations where I just logistically can't get to you before your crowdfunder's over. But I'm going to do my best. If you help me, I'll help you. Get me your stuff as early as you can, and I will do my best to get a review of it ASAP. But right now, I got to get going. I got to get down to the dollar bin, do some digging. Hope to see you guys there. And remember, keep on digging.